Here's my story. One salty tear slipped from Sarah's brown eye, dripping into the frothy gully. She had used up all her store of tears in her battle to keep the sycamores alive. Now she cast a dejected figure, her eyes fixed into the cold liquid magic. She stretched her palm into the water, swaying from left to right, deep in thought. Her eyes had begun to get acclimatized to the dark, and she noticed the dank mist that hovered around like hungry ghosts. The aroma of pine-scented wood teased her nostrils. The woods were her home, not the town beyond, with its loud chattering which stung her ears. She gazed upon the moon, which hung low, a shiny, bulbous pearl, hanging in the murky grey canvas sky. Why, she shouted, why do people have to tame the wild? She reflected back to the horror earlier. Her head spun as she replayed the events over and over in her head. 6 sycamore trees toppling to the ground. She could not bear to hear each tree scream as the chainsaw took its first nip and sunk its teeth into its bark. Don't be daft. It's a tree. Trees don't feel, scolded her friend. You've got some imagination and it'll do you no good whatsoever. But Sarah had grown up with those trees and she loved them as much as she loved anyone. Her phone buzzed. It was her friend, but she let it ring. And then she tossed it to the rough and shaggy tufts of grass nearby. She bounced up, opened her mouth, and her cry split the night. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired of people thinking I'm weird because I know trees have a language of their own. With a pounding heart and a heaving chest, she dashed through the night. The night seemed as empty as the promise of tomorrow. The overhanging branches sliced her hands as she navigated through the coarse, jagged pathway. She was caught up in blind fury, so much so that she didn't see where she was stepping. Her foot slipped on a stone and she slid down, 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 down. She hit the ground with a thud. With the exception of just a few bruises and cuts, she sustained no injury. As she nursed her wound, She remembered she had tossed her phone. Hunger was upon her, and her bones ached with the cold. She felt vulnerable. Her first thought was to try and scale the ravine, but it was too steep. And in defeat, she wrapped her arms round her legs. And as the moon moved to make way for the sun to smile upon the woods, she noticed a blackbird. And to her astonishment, it was pecking at a rope vine that had been embedded into the ravine, releasing it. Well, Sarah, with her slim, cold fingers, grabbed hold of it, and she managed to scale up to the top, where she crumpled on the ground with relief. And as she sat there looking at the bird, which was whirring above her head, she gave it a smile. But there was something about its eyes. They were charcoal black. And she thought that the bird was familiar. And then she remembered several years ago, she found a chick. It was lying on the ground by the sycamore tree. The bird was injured. And Sarah picked it up, took it home, and nursed it back to health, then released it in the woods. That was the moment when Sarah made a promise that she would be an advocate for nature, and it did not matter if anyone thought she was weird. Now, that's my tale. It's something that I was actually writing, and I had to condense it into a story for tonight. So, thank you.